You're now tuning in to the Ambitious Views podcast, where we share unique perspectives on storytelling within film and television from the past, present, and future. We're here for a good time, not a long time. So let's get to it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the third season of
Third
the
season.
Ambitious Views. You know what? Let me run it back. The third season,
The
Blaze.
third season.
of Ambitious Views. Everybody, welcome back. Welcome back. Blaze, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. This year has started out pretty well for me. I'm not stressed.
Okay.
School's going well, work's going well, personal life's going well, so it's good. How about you? How you feeling?
Well, I ain't
The opposite, actually.
you know, I ain't gonna say it ain't been great, but I ain't gonna say it's been the best. This season, this not season, because this season's gonna be good. But
Yes.
the year has definitely been yearing
Hmm.
um for me in a lot of unique ways and stuff. And so from it's just been super busy. I got new roles at work, all this stuff like that or whatever. And so I'm constantly in different type of things. And then, homecoming got pushed back to the
Hmm.
spring. And so I was super busy with preparing for that with all the different things that I'm over and school starting back, teaching two classes this semester, stuff like that, and then events, da 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 da. So I ain't gonna lie, all the way up until that ice fell, your boy was holding on. But I mean, it hasn't been bad. Of course, I've been working on the doc, and I ain't gonna lie, like it really eats me up when I don't have things out and people viewing it and I can
Hmm.
talk to people about it and all this stuff like that. Because most of the stuff that I have produced is coming up. I'm almost 2 years old at this point. And so, um, I'm itching to get other things out and stuff like that or whatever. And so, um, so in the trenches with getting the documentary done. I'm really close and stuff like that to bringing all of the segments together to make sure everything flows well and everything and stuff. And so, but I'm taking it easy, not putting too much on myself, all that jazz or whatever like that. And so, but other than that,
But other than that, did you I remember once we talked on the pod about you doing like a behind the scenes kind of doc of like your process of making stuff. Did you start that or continue that?
yeah, so I've been trying to get things like here and there, like you'll see like some clips, like so what would be shown, you'll see clips of just behind the scenes of filming it to there's moments where, I was able to get some shots like from behind over your shoulder where you can just see me just editing and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Whatever. So yeah, so there'll definitely be some things that I can add in or wherever like that just to show and just to, let people kind of see like the process and everything like that. Honestly, I'm just ready for whatever questions people have too, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's getting to the point now that some things that I really want to include, I don't feel like I'm gonna have enough space for that.
Okay.
Um, it's been something.
It's-
It's been something. So, but cool. Well, again, y'all, welcome back to the third season. We're really excited about this one. There is a lot coming down the pipeline. A lot coming down the pipeline from new films to television shows. Hopefully, to get some interviews in as well. I've even had some friends starting to ask, can they even be in on some episodes? So we go out to
Okay.
see what that's going to be looking like and stuff like that. So, but this is going to be really big season. Got a lot of things coming. We got about three Marvel films I think is coming out this year. Got DC content coming out. We have Stranger Things coming out. We have new reality shows coming out. There is a lot that is dropping this year. Part two of Wicked, which the first one was really big and a really enjoyable film. So we're really excited about this season. It'll be really great. And then as always, we just ask y'all to keep tuning in. Let us know what y'all want us to see, message us, all this stuff like that. So yeah. Before we get into it, of course, we got to kick off with our game. What is this? So for those of you who are just tuning in, how this game works is that basically Blaze and I take turn. I was about to say takes
No,
turns.
you said it.
I said
You said it.
takes turn. We're about to take turns. Each episode is my turn this time. Basically, we'll name three persons, places, or things that relates to a film or TV show, and we have to guess what that film or TV show is. All right. Does that sound right, Blaze? I want to make
That
sure.
sounds right. That sounds right.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop it off. All right, Blaze. So the three things are people, and this is their government name. All right. So
Oh
the first
Lord. Okay.
first one is Leon Robinson. The second one is Layla Rashawn. And the last one is Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh. I only know one Leon. And I'm gonna just go with the Temptations because that's his most iconic role for me. I don't think that's correct, but also I only know one other person's real name in that movie. So yeah.
You just jumped right in there. You just like, Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah, that was a joke. I, it wasn't a good joke, but
It wasn't because I don't get it.
I'm sorry. Well, I was just saying, you just like, I'm gonna just throw this out because it ain't.
Yeah. The,
Well, is that your final guess?
um,
Because I gave you a hint before we even started, and I will say you will definitely be upset if you don't get this right.
what was the hint?
In honor of Black History Month.
Black
But it's
History Month.
also connected to um, Captain America: Brave New World, which, by the way, y'all, that's what our episode will be talking about for today.
Okay, so it's connected to Captain America in honor of Black History. Black Panther?
Nope. I'm gonna give you another guess, even though it won't count.
I have
Classic,
no clue.
classic.
It's a classic. Blade?
All right.
You said a classic?
I give you ready?
I'm ready.
Waiting to exhale.
Oh, I wouldn't have guessed that from the actors' names.
So Leon, you got the right Leon. It's definitely him. He plays Russell.
Hmm.
And then who else? Giancarlo, who is one of the main villains in Brave New World, that he captures early on.
Uh-huh.
He plays one of the boyfriends in Waiting to Exhale.
Oh. See, I
And
didn't
later,
know his real name. I just know him as that dude I really like and stuff. I don't know his name. And honestly, if I knew his name, I probably would have been able to guess this.
yeah. And then Layla Rashawn plays one of the friends, of course, one of the main friends in the film. So, who's actually from Arkansas, by the way. So,
Ooh, ooh. That
yeah.
was a good one.
Thank you, thank you. I tried.
I know
Y'all
you
heard.
for you to have just made that one up before we got on. You did that one.
Thank you,
That was
thank you.
good.
The audience wasn't supposed to know that, but thank you.
I'm I'm sorry. He spent weeks, months.
Weeks. I was ready for this episode.
Yes.
Oh man, so that was a good one. So that's how it goes, y'all. So we'll be doing that every episode. As you see, it can be a lot of fun. Definitely let us know whenever if you're trying to guess and see what this is, and stuff like that. DM us, comment on it, just let us know what you think. But other than that, on to the watch list segment, which just a reminder, what we do, we just talk about things that we have watched, and sometimes we'll talk about things that we are currently watching, and stuff like that. So, Blaze, I'm gonna let you kick it off. What you got on your list?
Well, it's been a minute since we talked, so
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
a lot. I got a lot. So I'll start with like shows that I'm watching that are in seasons, like it's their new season.
Mm-hmm.
So Cobra Kai season 6, it was their final season. And I don't know, Corgan, if you ever watched Cobra Kai, got onto the bandwagon, but when I
Mm-hmm.
say like this was the most perfect way to end a show. They
Wow.
did an amazing job. Like, I feel like everybody got a happy ending without it coming off corny or forced. It was perfect. Like everybody got something that if you look back at those characters in season 1, season 2, you'd be like, it just all made sense for them to get what they got in the end.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a great end to the show. It kind of has me excited for the next Karate Kid movie. My only like hesitation about that one is Jaden Smith gonna be in it? Because they never talked about
Oh,
Jaden Smith in Cobra Kai, and so I need some acknowledgement of Jaden Smith in this new movie. I know Jackie Chan is in it, but I need them to say something about Jaden. Okay.
that's fair. That's fair. I'm gonna watch it because I really loved watching all of the Karate Kids growing up. Like I've seen all four of them. So the main three, and then the one they did later on with Mr. Miyagi, mentors a young high school girl, and stuff like that. I thought all of them were great, and stuff like that. So I'm gonna get on it. I'm gonna get on
I will
it.
say it's a fun, intense show, and you will be thinking like, why are they so serious about karate? But it's a really good show.
Okay, okay, I believe you. I'm with it.
Okay.
I'm with it.
The next thing I'll talk about is The White Lotus. They're
Okay.
on their third season. I think they're just on their second episode or about to be third episode. Um, I was a little nervous about this season. I saw the trailer and I was like, I don't know. But I watched the first episode and I was like, they back. They back. It's a really good season. This season takes place in Thailand, I believe. So at a White Lotus resort in Thailand, the characters are just as crazy, and I don't even really have any suspects as to who I think died or who killed, because it could be everybody at this point. But it's a really good start to the season, and I'm excited to see where it's gonna go.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And then some of the newer things that I've watched, or
Mhm.
I won't say newer things because some of it is not new. I watched the Netflix show Nobody Wants This with Kristen Bell and Adam Brody, and it was really good. So the hype was definitely worth it. It was good. They've already been renewed for a second season, and Adam Brody's wife, Leighton Meester, is actually going to be on the second season, which is going to be cool because Leighton Meester was on Gossip Girl. Kristen Bell did the voice for Gossip Girl, so it's like all full circle.
Mm.
Um, so I think that's pretty cool, and I'm excited for that next season. I finally
Mhm.
watched the Rebel Ridge movie
Oh.
with Aaron Pierre.
Oh my God.
I have to do it. But it was so good. It was very good.
Okay. We're gonna have to watch it, man.
You do.
It's been bad, like, especially if it's like a streaming thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just been bad about like just jumping on things and just doing it. Either something comes up or it's just like just needing that push to go ahead
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. But we gonna get them.
Yeah. I mean, that's usually how I am when it comes to like movies, like especially like movies on Netflix and Hulu. I kind of wait a minute to watch them, but I'm happy that I waited and watched it like on my own pace. But it was really good, so I hope you do check it out.
Okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool.
What else? What else? What else? I went to the play or the musical Ain't Too Proud to Bag, the Temptation
Mm,
musical,
okay.
which was amazing. They came here to Little Rock, and so I got to see that. I brought my parents with me, and then my
Hmm.
cousin and her stepmother and sister also came, and it
Hmm.
was an amazing show. I love the Temptations, love the movie, and so it was kind of cool to see it be put on stage a little bit in a different way. I
Hmm.
learned stuff about the different members of the group that I didn't know before. Like I didn't know that Otis's wife was a minor when he married her.
Whoa.
Right. I was like, wait, what? I didn't know Otis went to jail, which is why he started like getting into singing and stuff, to kind of keep him off the streets. And like I was like, you know what? That makes sense as to like his mentality with the group and everything. So I was like, okay, y'all putting me onto stuff I didn't even know about.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you're a musical fan and it comes to your city, I recommend you go.
How was that experience like going to that show compared to the movie?
The experience going to the show was cool. I thought it would be more people who look like us there. It was a lot of us, but it was also not some of us. And I was
Okay.
like, oh, okay. So when it got to like the parts where they talked about, the racism in the South and how people during that time period used to use their music for making political statements and stuff, I'm looking around the crowd like, how
Mm.
y'all feel? How y'all
Okay.
feel? Yeah, but
Yeah.
no, the experience seeing it live was fun. It was energetic. My daddy was singing the whole time. I'm over here trying to like get my daddy to be quiet because he a little loud, but it was good. It was so good. And my parents, they don't really do musicals and stuff like that. And so for them to leave that and be like, wow, this was a great experience, like that's all that mattered to me.
Dope. That's what's up. Yeah, I wanted to see it, but this time it was bad for us. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
what's up.
Okay. And then, like I said, so many things. Harlem, I
Hmm.
forgot about that. The final season of Harlem. I watched that. It was a good season. It was funny.
Hmm.
I liked the ending since it was the final season. I hate that it was the final season because this season felt like, man, if they had so much more time, the more stories that they could have told.
Hmm.
But they did a good job with, I think it was what, like eight episodes of closing everybody's stories out in a pretty beautiful way for everybody, I would say.
Yeah. 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 I think I wish they would have had at least one more season, at
I
least one,
agree.
because I feel like not to get too much into a review with that, but I feel like there was just a little bit more. I feel like they could have like elaborated on,
Oh yeah.
not like stretch out too long, but I do feel like just because they had to wrap up, I feel like they had to do quick cutoffs on some people's stories. So, but yeah,
Yeah. Like I'm a big fan of Logan Browning, and I hate that she wasn't able to be utilized as much because they only had so much,
mhm,
so many episodes, so much time. And so her character was kind of like, it was a
yeah,
very small side character. And I was like, man, I wish because like there, I feel like there was so much more that they could have did with that whole
Mhm.
story,
Yeah, yeah.
between the three of them. But it was fine for what we got. At least we got a good. At least we got an ending, and it didn't end in like a cliffhanger, like
Right.
Moesha, who kidnapped Miles.
Yeah, yeah. They definitely did good.
A show I've always wanted to watch but never did
Hmm.
was Sex in the City. And so
Hmm.
I started that on Netflix. I think I'm on like season 4. And the only reason why I ever wanted to watch it is because people always compare, Girlfriends, Harlem, Run the World, all those shows to it. And so I was like, well, let me check this show out and see like why are people making these comparisons? Why is this a show that's been so celebrated? And it's been pretty good so far. Some of the characters get annoying here and there, but
Hmm.
I can see why it was so popular.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I'm watching Court of Gold on Netflix. It's basically
Mm,
about the men's USA basketball team in Paris last year. And so that's really cool because that team has some of our best players on one team. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry all getting to play together.
mhm.
That's more than likely never going to happen again, especially with those group of men. And so
Right.
watching their experience working together has been interesting so far.
Okay. Okay.
Um, just a little game show I've been watching, Pop Culture Jeopardy. That's been fun. I checked out the Blink Twice movie. Really like that. I like the story. I like the story of it was I didn't know where that story was gonna go. When you watch the trailer of the movie, you really don't know what's about to happen. But I think what they did with it was good. Traders season 3, been watching that. It's been entertaining. Um, Beyond the Gates is the new black soap opera. So I've been watching that this week because it premiered on Monday. So I've been watching that. Gotta watch today's episode because if you
Mhm.
know anything about soap operas, they have a new episode every day.
Woo. That's
I
some real
know.
work.
That's real work. But you know what? I have it on record. So if I miss a day, I can just go watch the little recordings whenever. They could maybe like a little Sunday, Saturday thing I do.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. I got
Yeah. Um, WWE has a show on A&E called LFG, which stands for Legends and Future Greats. And essentially, the show is them taking some legends, so like The Undertaker, Booker T, Bully Ray, Buddy Ray, and Mickey James. They are coaches for some new talent, and it's like a
you.
competition, but it's kind of cool because they like show you the behind the scenes of the business and how people like learn how to really become a wrestler, WWE superstar, like all the things that they have to go through, and then you get
Mm,
like these really nice nuggets from these legends as well. So the
mm,
first few episodes have been really good so far.
interesting.
Yeah. And then the last thing I'll talk about is probably going to be the best show of the year. I
Ooh.
mean, this show is gonna get if this show doesn't win any awards this next award season, it's rigged. But
Ooh.
Paradise on Hulu, watch the first episode and you will want to watch the rest of the season. I haven't watched this week's episode, but everybody on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, have been saying it's one of the best episodes, like not just of this show, but like ever. And all the different reactions and all, I'm like, oh, I'm kind of scared to watch this episode, but also I'm excited
Hmm.
because it's supposed to be just this phenomenal episode. But
Mm,
the show itself, the writing is good, the story is good. It's like a dystopian story.
mhm,
It's so good. Sterling K. Browning is amazing. What's his name? James Martinson, I think that's his name. He's great in it. I can't think of like that many serious roles he does. He usually I feel like is in like comedies, but he's doing amazing in this. If you haven't watched Paradise, you are missing out. And it just got renewed for a second season too. So it's time to y'all tap in.
Wow. Well, yeah, it's definitely on my list. Like I remember seeing it and just initially I was kind of like, sounds interesting. I'll check it out whenever. But then Blaze was like, no, like y'all gotta get on this. So
No, you do. You do. Courtney, you're gonna love it.
okay. Okay. I'm definitely gonna jump on it and stuff like that. That might end up being what's today, Wednesday. So if we don't start on it by if we don't start on it by tomorrow, well, no, I'll have to work late tomorrow. So that'll probably be our weekend thing and jumping in that because that's ended up how we got into From. We just finally laid
Mm-hmm.
up, started that weekend, and just man.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Well, dope. Like you said, you've been watching
I've
some
been
stuff.
watching. I mean, it's been a minute since we recorded, so
Yeah. Okay.
I'm talking from like late November to the
Yeah.
middle of February.
Yeah. No, I'm just messing with you. So, well, cool. My list is the titles are longer than my list. I'll say that much. So, I watched the Stan documentary. I had to double check to make sure I checked it, but it's on. You can watch it on Showtime, but if you have Prime and you have that, you may be able to watch it on there, either temporarily or just altogether. But basically, it follows the story of Muhammad Abdul Rauf. He was a NBA player that primarily played for the Denver Nuggets back in the day, and so he's actually been compared to well, not he has. Steph Curry has been compared to the way he played back in the day, actually. And actually, one of the main things he was known of is him overcoming his Tourette's. He actually had Tourette's, or still has it, but he played with it from high school all the way through college, all the way through the NBA. And one of the primary things that this documentary focuses on is the fact of how his religious belief pretty much almost was used against him and ended up blackballing him in the NBA. And
Oh wow.
so yeah, so it's a very unique story. He actually doesn't start off as a Muslim. It's something that he converted to around later on, if not the end of his college career, more so the beginning of his NBA career. I believe that is right, more so the beginning of his NBA career, and you just kind of see the evolution of how like him as just a person converting to becoming a Muslim, and then how that was almost kind of used against him, unfortunately, and stuff like that. And so, really great documentary. Highly recommend. And also, I would just say that it shows that times definitely repeat themselves. I definitely would say that. Surprisingly, Blaze, we are all in on Dragon Ball Z randomly. uh,
Are y'all going? Y'all started from like the very beginning?
Very beginning. I tried Dragon Ball, but I just cannot get with how older the animation was and the
Hmm.
storytelling pacing of it. And so I was like, so I went on the Dragon Ball Z, and I actually would just like right before bed, I turn on and watch one or two episodes because anime shows they're shorter. And so I was just
Hmm.
turning it on right before bed, but I'll just here and there would kind of keep an eye up and looking at it and stuff like that. And one night I turned it on and she was like, "So you just gonna start it without me?" I was like, "Oh, so you ain't." And so, man, we got in it, and we took a mini break since
Hmm.
this past weekend, but we're all in. I think we're almost done with the whole season, and I think after this is done, we'll be up to date with. Sorry if you can hear babies, but we'll start over. We'll not start over, but we'll start watching the newer season that came out like a few years ago and stuff like that. So I will honestly say that like growing up and watching it and now watching other not documentaries, other animes, I will say like Dragon Ball Z is a true anime. Like the pacing of it, the humor in it, it definitely gives you that traditional kind of old school ish and patient style of anime. And so
Mhm.
I'm definitely more so really excited to finally see what the fresher stuff looks like because I mean, I know they put money behind it. I know a lot of people have been talking about it. And so
Mhm.
I'm really just interested to see how it is. And plus, I was told that Dragon Ball GT that came after Z doesn't count anymore. It's kind of like a other world type of thing. Right.
Okay.
And I'm interested to see, it's kind of unique because it's like nostalgia
Mhm.
in a mix of like some things I remember from the game, some things I remember actually watching and seeing
Mhm.
how different things unfold. And some things I just didn't know at all or didn't see the episode because it came randomly on TV, where I grew up. And
Mhm.
so it's fun to kind of see things that I knew what was supposed to happen and how it actually happened to like I didn't know this particular detail about things. So it's actually been kind of fun to watch it, especially with her as well. And so, but yeah, Dragon Ball Z, we in there. So Love is Blind, only watched one episode of that. Kind of almost kind of got fatigued on the first episode, kind of like how the
Mhm.
newer episodes of Married at First Sight and kind of transition to where it's like super long episodes.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I will say like I get that maybe they're trying to maybe cater to the audience and make sure we get to learn as much as we can about some of the people in the pods, but there's only so much that can happen in the pods. And
Right.
personally, I would just kind of rather learn. I would rather see more outside of the pods,
Mhm.
getting that experience than taking forever to be inside the pods. But also finding a balance, which I know it can be possibly kind of hard, but find a balance of being able to still let us be able to learn more about other parents because I do feel like we still miss out on other parents because it's like, and I don't know why it's kind of like they almost tell us up front who's gonna get with who. Like for instance,
Yeah, I mean, when you watch the trailer, they do.
yeah, I skipped that. I fast forwarded so I wouldn't even know because it's like why are we
Why would you
doing that?
tell me? Yeah.
Yeah, I want to find out. I want to be surprised, like, oh, they got together, so I don't know, but
Mhm. I
we'll
mean, if they
see.
want to continue to do
Hmm.
the show, then they're gonna have to revamp. And 6 episodes in the pod is just not it.
No.
Let's drop that down to like at the most three.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, three. And maybe even four. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, because also like even make it fun. Like maybe you give them games to do kind of
Mm-hmm.
similar to the circle in the pods that they do, they kind of
Yeah.
translate or something like that, or where they have to reveal who they, falling for. What does that feel like?
Mm-hmm.
Like how people reaction. You know what I'm saying? Just something fun like
Well,
that.
I mean, I've listened to from season two Natalie and Deep D's podcast before, and they are like they bring people in from seasons and stuff, and they talk about how like one of the first things that they have them do after their first dates, like there or maybe like the first couple of days, is they rank the people,
Mhm.
and after they rank them, the people
Mhm.
that's not in like their top three or top five or whatever, they no longer see any of those people anymore. So they only see the same, few people. And so that's something that they really should include in the show. Like
Yeah.
Nick and Vanessa coming out and saying, all right, you guys, it's time to rank your top dates. And like we can see like the stress of like having to cut people off and making that
Mhm.
decision, things like that. I think that would be something cool to add.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. Like, yeah, just kind of peel back the curtain a little bit and let us,
Yeah.
see more or whatever like that. I definitely would like that too. So, but yeah, we're gonna see. And just for y'all, like, we will be doing a Love Is Blind like predictions episode, and then we'll follow up with what actually happened. So yeah, so look forward to that as well. Something else that I'm watching, Sly Lives is a documentary that follows let me see here. I want to make sure I say this right. It's something that was produced um by Questlove and it's about Sly and the family and the Family Stone. So pretty much it follows like mainly Sly for the most part, and then it keeps going from there and stuff like that. But yeah, like so I haven't finished the documentary. It's a feature film, so you can't watch it in one setting.
Mhm.
But overall, it's been pretty interesting to see this story going on while I've learned about other stories that's going on and how they're kind of flowing around one another. It is on Hulu, by the way. So if you are interested in just learning about music history, especially black music history, then that is something to entertain. And also, if you watch Summer of Soul and Questlove did that as well, then you can entertain checking it out. So, but that's on Hulu. Also, I finally checked out Secret Level. I've only watched one episode. That's on Amazon Prime. It's an original series. It's an animated series. It's an anthology series, actually, in the same production company that produced Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix. They produced this, and pretty much the concept is basically them selecting different type of popular basketball, popular video games and creating a secret level, as in there's a story that you never heard before, and they kind of
Mhm.
expand upon it. We watched the Pac-Man one, and that was very interesting. It was very Love, Death, and Robotsy. So if you're familiar with the series, definitely buckle up with that one because it was definitely nothing that I expected in it. And these episodes are pretty short, and none of the links are ever the same. Just kind of like the same formula that they use for Netflix. So if you're interested in that, I definitely recommend that you check that out. Beast Games. For those of you who know me, I watch a good chunk of Mr. Beast's YouTube channel, and so he came out with a game show, reality game show on Amazon Prime, and that show is wild. I would say that is the most entertaining and creative game show I have ever seen. I would honestly say that it definitely fully challenges the Squid Games reality TV show that they created based off the show. It's amazing. And this guy gives out a lot. Well, there's a lot of money opportunities in it, and just the way that they work out the games to where you just never know what is going to drive certain people to do literally all the way up until the end. You will be amazed. So, highly recommend that. I think it's like 8 or 9 episodes, maybe 10, but I know it doesn't go past 10 on Amazon Prime, and it's really good. And if you can watch it with somebody, I highly recommend because the reactions is to certain things is just too wild just to keep to yourself. So, but highly recommend that. Of course, Harlem talked about that. Blink Twice. That was a very interesting film. We watched that a few weeks ago. Kind of almost in the same type of style of films like Saltburn and what was the film that we watched not too long ago, Blaze, and talked about that was on Netflix?
It's what's inside.
Yeah, it's What's Inside. So it's that type of kind of that type of kind of it's that type of film, so if you're interested in those type of things, it's very unique, all the stuff like that, then you should give that a try. Transformers One actually screened that at the school for a welcome back week event. I'm definitely going to go back and watch it because I was working, make sure everything is good, but for the most part what I saw was cool, and there was a big surprise into it that I did not know the history of it. So if you are interested in Transformers and you want to know about some history that's really juicy, I highly recommend that. And just the concept of Transformers One, it is animated, but a really great job with it. But it basically follows the story of how the Defenders, as in the Transformers, got their Transformers powers. Um, I know y'all gonna come for me and everything like that, but your boy never did watch the new edition series when it first came out, and I will honestly
It
say,
is.
yeah, I know I've got my black card back from that one though. But
What'd you
I would,
think?
hey, that's one
Uh-huh,
of
uh-huh.
the best. It's not a biopic, but of course it's based off a true story. It's one of the best things I've seen when it came to retelling the story of real people. Like it was really really good. Everybody did a great job. It was really great. It was really great. I definitely wish it came out around this time because I would love to talk deeper about it. But it was a really great series.
I'm happy
Um,
you finally watched it.
oh yeah, oh yeah, me too. I just randomly popped it on and we watched it and we was locked in. So I'm pretty sure we finished it in one weekend.
Mhm.
The lives and deaths of Sonny Liston. So if you're into boxing, especially following Muhammad Ali, you definitely know who Sonny Liston is. He's actually from Arkansas. He's the heavyweight champion
Whatever.
before Muhammad Ali, and that is what kicked off Muhammad Ali's um, championship reign by
Mhm.
beating Sonny Liston. So, but this dives into the story of just who he was and just kind of gives a different perspective of just what was going on at that time and how people live their lives back then, I would say. So if you're interested in that, I'm pretty sure it's still available on Prime or excuse me, or on Paramount Plus. And so it's definitely on there. And lastly, Little White Lie is a documentary I randomly turned on. It was an independent film, and the director of it is the subject of this project. But basically, it just talks about a woman who found out that she was not white, and that her family to a certain degree kind of always questioned or wondered certain things. But she finally, but as time passed along from high school, like looking back all the way through college, she takes you on a journey of her rediscovering who her identity truly is, and everything. And so, definitely, if you're interested in something like this, where it's like a self-discovery type of documentary, and having honest moments where she's talking to her parents about it, talking to other family members about it, all the stuff like that. Is definitely something that I recommend that you entertain. It's very raw,
Mhm.
and I like the fact that the how honest everyone that participated was willing to be, including her, on just this journey. But yeah, Little White Lie.
Little White Lie. Now I get the
Little
title.
right.
But that reminds me of a storyline. I don't know if you ever watched it on Hulu, but Black Cake. That was one storyline that was in it because that show, book, whatever you want to
Mm,
call it, it
yeah.
is it goes over like different timelines of
Mhm,
this one family. And so one of
mhm,
the characters, she was raised by a white family, so she thought she was white all her life. And then she gets this letter from her real mother saying, "Nope, you're my mom. I mean, you're my child that I gave her an
mhm.
option. And by the way, I'm black."
Mm,
Yeah.
wow. Wow. Well, yeah. Um, Yep. So that's interesting. We actually want to watch that film because the one of the main actors of that film, she was the lead in the film. I'm for a great. It was a great matter, I believe.
Mhm.
That was a part of the was the outcome of the feature film that was produced during the Green Light season that Issa Rae produced.
Okay.
So I want to follow and see with that because even with that, she's pretty good and stuff like that. So, but yeah, that's my list. So now we're down to the real take, and before we jump into the Captain America series, I mean Captain America series, Captain America movie, I did want to ask Blaze her thoughts on what she think will be the winner of the Best Picture. So we have of the Oscars because it's actually coming up this weekend. So you have Emily Perez, which has been getting a lot of praise and stuff like that and recognition, a lot of things, and a lot of attention in other ways actually.
Yep, yep, yep.
Um, a complete unknown, which is something that I actually want to watch just because it's a biopic,
Mhm.
and dealing with music. Conclave, Nickel Boys, which I haven't seen yet, but I'm hoping to watch this weekend. I'm Still Here, The Substance, Dune Part Two, which I still have to watch Part One.
I haven't
Uh,
watched part one either.
which I heard a lot of people say Dune 2 was super good. So,
Mhm.
Wicked, of course, we know about that. Anora, which actually got a few nominations during the SAG Awards this past weekend, and The Brutalist. So Blaze, if you would have to pick, what do you feel would be the best picture winner this weekend?
Um, did I talk to pick because I've only watched one of those movies, so it's easy for me to say Wicked. But just like judging based off of other awards, SAG, Golden
Mhm.
Globes, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Possibly The Brutalist,
Okay.
possibly Concave.
Hmm.
I'm feeling, or even The Substance. Honestly,
Okay. Okay. So which one of those you go pick?
I'm gonna pick the one that I've watched,
Okay.
Wicked.
Wicked. Wicked. Okay.
I mean, it would be crazy if Wicked doesn't go home with something. It was
Yeah.
too good.
Yeah. I think the thing I think them being a musical and not just a musical, but it's based off of a play. I think that's what's um keeping them from getting over the hill of actually winning. I wonder is that affecting the voting
Mm,
process. So because I do think it's really good. The aesthetics, the design, everything is really good. I would be surprised if they don't win something.
right.
But best picture, I think it's gonna be. I'll do like you. Number one, I feel like it's gonna be between Emily Perez, Conclave, and Nickel Boys.
Mm-hmm.
But based off, and I may be wrong, but based off of what I've heard one particular content creator say about their experience watching Emily Perez and seeing somebody else's talk about Emily Perez, I don't think they're gonna get it. I
Mm-hmm.
think, and it may be just also because it's a musical too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I feel that it may be between Conclave and Nickel Boys.
Okay.
But I would not be surprised if Conclave win just
I wouldn't be either.
because internationally speaking, I think that will connect with more people than just the US
Mm-hmm.
and there are many people that are part of the academy and I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that go into their favor as far as getting a win for that.
I
Which
agree.
I have heard I want to watch. I have heard Conclave is really good
It's
and
on
I
Peacock, I think.
yeah, it is. And I've saw that they said that it's been said that if you have not gotten a spoil for you, that is definitely worth watching.
Mm-hmm. I want to watch the Substance.
Okay.
I read about the storyline and it seems pretty interesting.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't heard much about that one. Um, and I do find it interesting. Oh, I haven't heard much about that one, but the clip that they showed with gosh, what is her name? Demi Moore.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that was wild, and I see how she's been winning to
Mm-hmm.
to do that. So,
I
um,
mean, I definitely think that this year's awards, it's a bit of a toss up. Like
mhm,
we don't know what's gonna happen. We don't know who's gonna win.
yeah,
Um, so we just gotta wait and see Sunday.
yeah. Well, let's see. All right, y'all. We jumping into Captain America: Brave New World. I know it's been because you like, man, y'all don't talk about a lot, and like, yeah, it's been something. So,
It's been
but
some. We
Captain,
catching up with y'all. What's
yeah, we
good?
catching up with y'all. Hope y'all still are enjoying. And if you did fast forward to this, I'm not too mad at you, but I'm kind of sad at the
I'm
same
gonna
time.
fight you actually, but
Yeah,
okay.
actually take this out into the cyber world on the outside. But anyway, appreciate y'all love. But anyway, Captain America, this is Marvel's. jump back into the cinematic universe. You know, it's been a while. There's been a lot of films out there that people enjoy, people didn't enjoy. I think the last film that I watched Marvel wise that I enjoyed, and actually is like my top five is not Suicide Squad. That is a completely different franchise. It is help me out, Blaze. It is um what with Quill and everything and Rocket. Who were they?
Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy.
So the last film that I think that I've seen, that I really enjoyed, and probably the last film that I saw that Marvel possibly put out was I just forgot. What did you just say?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
So the last thing I think that I have seen that I really enjoyed that Marvel put out was Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Honestly, it's been in my top five or six. I feel like films that they've made.
Okay.
I really wasn't expecting it with the balance of emotion, still bringing in the comedy, but then not making it too corny. James Gunn just did a really great job for that to be his last film as of right now.
I was gonna
With
say, wait, what?
yeah, as he's transitioned over to DC. And so again, it's going to be a big year because this is kicking off a brand new focus of just where things should be heading, closing out this upcoming phase. With the new Captain America, they're introducing Fantastic Four and stuff like that. And so um, I was definitely interested to see how this would connect with the series Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Mhm.
So for some people, I found it kind of funny that they was like, "Whoa, wait a minute, we got a new Captain America." I'm like, "Yeah, this was the perfect time for you to watch the show, for you to see." And so, uh, uh
I mean, I saw similar stuff on Twitter of people being like they were confused because they didn't watch the show and stuff. And I was
yeah,
like, I mean, I didn't watch the show, but I wasn't confused. Like, what y'all
uh,
don't get? He the new Captain America. Did y'all not watch with like what
in game,
exactly?
yeah. I mean, I will say that like there wasn't much that you would have missed by not seeing the series. Like the big Easter egg was the end game. It was passed down to him. He was supposed to take the mantle, move on or whatever like that and stuff. It just kind of showed in the series how that wasn't just a clean cut thing and how it definitely could have went other ways. But I will say, even though it wasn't my favorite series on Disney Plus related to Marvel, it has done the best job of something that's been made and now is connecting to the cinematic universe when it comes to going to theaters and stuff like that because you learn about other characters if you would have watched another character if you would have watched it that's coming up in the Thunderbolts film um, a little bit before uh, Fantastic Four comes out. I think it comes out in May. And so but yeah, so overall, like especially I'm interested, Blaze, to know your thought process on what was this experience like, knowing that even though you knew about Captain America, like what was your take on seeing him, fully in action outside of, clips and trailers?
Mhm. I mean, I was excited to see what they did with him as the
Hmm.
lead of the store of the yeah, I guess you say story.
Hmm.
Um and so like my watching experience, like as the movie was going on, I was like, this is really less of like a typical superhero movie, and it's more of like a almost like a political thriller or political action movie, so to
Hmm.
speak. And I liked that take on it just
Hmm.
because he didn't take the serum or whatever it is to be like the OG Captain America. So he's human, he just
Yes.
he's like Iron Man, he just got the technology to kick some butt. And so I felt
Hmm.
like that was a good take on that, especially as they try to integrate the Avengers back into being the Avengers, because it is a very political thing now, so to speak. And so
Mm-hmm.
I like that take of the movie. Um, I just don't know. I wish that I could go back and watch like the trailers
Mm-hmm.
to remember how I thought of, like, if I thought of it as a superhero movie, or if I just was like Captain America superhero, like, did they
Yeah.
sell it as a political thriller, or did they sell it as a superhero movie? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that. When I watched it, honestly, that's what I was a little bit more intrigued about and wanted to watch it because it did come off as a dun da da da. It was more like a grounded spy-ish
Mm-hmm.
type of film for me, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that's something that they've always tried to do.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because to go along with that, I think that's the reason why a lot of people that are into Captain America really enjoy Captain the Winter Soldier. The
Yes.
and so I think that's why um I feel like I was more drawn to this because it even the trailer itself, how they cut the first one, it was kind of nostalgic because I feel like I'm used to seeing different trailers like, or vibes that you see with Mission Impossible and different things that you see back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And so but yeah, like what you said, he's not a super soldier. And so at times I feel like that's something that I feel like I kind of struggle with, but then also getting used to seeing more of the Falcon in a sense. Uh take on more combat for a longer period of time as opposed to I
Mm-hmm.
feel like at times if it was Cap or even Bucky, like the way that he would handle certain fights, it probably would have been done in a different way, a little flashy way, a little bit more entertaining. But
Mm-hmm.
you can only do so much with the wings, especially if you're inside. And at the end of the day, you're just right there with your enemy, and either it's fist to
Mm-hmm.
fist hand combat, either and it's just like at the end of the day, who's ever better or clever or the
Yeah.
technology, kind of
I mean,
saves you. So
I
yeah,
can't remember who said it in the movie, but like saying, like, the fact that he didn't become a super soldier, people, like little kids who are watching him, like, he's somebody they can aspire to actually be. Like, it's attainable because he's
yeah,
not a super soldier. Like, I can still do a lot for myself and for my people, my country, whatever,
mhm,
without being a super soldier. And I think
yeah,
that that goes a long way. And I think that that's also important for maybe the audience of today. The audience in the past, like, superhero movies were a big deal, but today the generic, or formulaic of a superhero movie or character is not, it's not like what people are really driving towards, if in terms of like a wider audience. Like, if you're just trying to cater to kids,
mhm,
sure, but I
yeah,
feel like Marvel has moved beyond just catering to kids,
yeah,
if
yeah,
that
and
makes
I can,
sense.
yeah, no, because there was more moments of cussing that I
Yeah.
was surprised about. Because here and there they would let certain things go through, but this I feel like they was trying to push that boundary a little bit, and I was very surprised about that.
Hmm.
I felt that I hope this is what's to come.
Hmm.
Because at the end of the day, it's kind of like, back in one of my film classes, my professor, was just letting it be known, like you see all of this, you see the superheroes and we grow up on these things and stuff like that, especially in the cartoons, but you don't really think about that these are violent acts that's going out to resolve an issue
Yes.
and how detrimental it can be to the surrounding spaces, which is why
Yes.
Iron Man got my respect,
Hmm.
moving forward in Civil War because, like he said, it's not, he said we need to be in check, but I feel like more so he's just saying, like, hey, we need someone or an entity to make us more aware of how we can go about doing things possibly better, to
Hmm.
where it's not like we're not being terrorists and fighting terrorists, and
Yeah.
stuff. Because I mean, if you letting Hulk just run
Hulk
rapid,
out. Yeah. It's not gonna work. I mean, I
Nope.
think back to one of the Spider-Man movies where the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies were like part of the storyline was somebody who it was somebody's job to like clean up after the alien invasion in one of the Avengers movies. And I was like, I love how they are kind of going into what the people that live in that community in that area are dealing with. Cause like, dang, why y'all gotta fight here?
Exactly. Exactly. And I feel like, you know, that's what Spider-Man's story has always been. Like, no matter how super and cool things he's been, it's literally always been, Jonah Jameson that's been up his tail, trying to expose him, trying to make him look bad. And
Mhm.
that's just simple gossip. That's grounded
Mhm.
things. That's something that anybody can go through. And so, and I think also that's why some people really enjoyed Superman back in the day because not only, yeah, he's this big, super strong man and all this stuff like that, but then also he's trying to so-called, especially living up to, going leading up all the way to Justice League, he's trying to live a normal life among people and figure this life out that he has had to kind of adopt as his life because he didn't know what was before him. And so
Mhm.
so yeah, so I appreciate the groundedness of this film.
Yeah, I
Uh
did too.
and I do feel like even comparing it to the series, I don't feel like it was a fall back. It was an easy transition into it, but then also I overall I think it was enjoyable.
Mhm.
Um and stuff like that. I really did enjoy Torres in this film, his partner that is pretty much like the new Falcon.
Oh
I think
yeah, I
he
did too.
I think he brought really great comedic relief, but then not being too corny to where you kind of like a foolish character. So
Yeah.
I actually look forward to seeing him more and stuff like that or whatever. And I think there can be some really cool things that can be done in the air with two, in the sense, flighters or flyers or wherever like that and stuff because we really don't get besides, Thor and Vision, we don't get too many people that's just flying in the air and then action taking place.
Mhm.
Um, with that, what did you think about Harrison Ford's character, President Ross?
Um, I it felt like they were trying to make a statement.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and not a bad statement, but in a way of like you can maybe disagree with somebody or not like somebody and you can still work with them for the better.
Mm-hmm.
But also people can grow, people can change. And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of how I took his character. I thought Harrison Ford was great in that character, but I
Mm-hmm.
did like the idea. I'm gonna be honest, I ain't never liked Hulk, the storyline. I did never care for Hulk, but this was like the one time where like I really like what they did with that whole
Mm-hmm.
raging out and stuff because we saw a man who was trying his best to keep his anger under control. And then things kept piling up and piling up and piling up, and then he lost control. But
Mm-hmm.
was able to come back and then take responsibility for his actions. And
Mm-hmm.
in that, I like that lesson was shown.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely like that too. For him, they did a really great job, which is very unique for him to kind of, which that goes into a whole separate thing or wherever like that. They did a very unique. It's almost like they was kind of trying to do a sleight of hands to a certain degree, but also tell you that this is the card they plan, the trick that they plan on doing anyway.
Mhm.
Because it was just one of those things. I found it very unique that his Hulk, because it wasn't him, but his Hulk wasn't the main, antagonist of this film.
Right.
But
Which,
they
if you watch
saved
the
it.
trailer or what I remember from the trailer, that's
Yeah.
what it felt like.
Yeah. Which, I did feel like it was going to be someone else in there, with it. but I didn't expect them to do this way, and I will say, which I rarely ever say anything on a pod about about like the choices and stuff like that. But I will say this: I found it very unique that you told us that the Hulk was going to be there when he was barely in there,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I found that very interesting that they did that. And I honestly, especially since the extra cut scene wasn't much to it. I honestly would have loved to have been surprised that there was a Hulk in this because I really enjoyed that fighting scene. I think that was my
Hmm.
favorite in the whole entire film was them going at it and him trying to figure out a way to get him to calm down and stuff like that. Like it was really good. The design looked great of the Red Hulk. Like it was really freaking good. And so I will say that was kind of like my main thing. Because Sidewinder was in there along with, Samuel Stern, which was the scientist or whatever like that. But I found it very unique. Um, and but I will say, just going back to mainly what we're talking about, I did, even though it was unique for the Hulk to not be in the film earlier, I enjoyed President Ross' character within and throughout the film because I think if it
Hmm.
it made it more interesting to see his point of view and where he was going with it leading up to that moment.
Yeah. It also gave Captain America the it made sense for him to be able to calm him down,
Yeah.
because they had to build that relationship.
Hmm.
And if we would have got more Hulk and less of that relationship building, then how does he come down? Like, how does this fight resolve without Sam dying, essentially? I mean,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
should be dead, honestly. He should have some collapsed lungs, broken back.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think he said something at the end about like he should have took the serum, something like that or
Yeah.
whatever.
Nah, but
Um,
he definitely should have after that
yeah,
fight. But
nah, like,
also, like, to add to that, that's probably why they did not have so much of the Hulk, because logically speaking, like, he can't survive that many fights against Hulk.
yeah, yeah, most
Like,
definitely.
hey, Bucky, I need you to come back.
Yeah, quick, fast, and in a hurry, But yeah, I definitely will, say that, I am interested in because basically with both villains still alive, Sidewinder and
Hmm.
Samuel, Stearns, I am interested, especially with, the way this phase is supposed to be progressing. I am curious if these two villains, especially Sidewinder, will come back um,
Hmm.
and stuff like that. If not technically in a new Captain America film, but at least in what will come, will they end up showing up again in the Thunderbolts? Because technically, like I said, one of the characters in the main characters of Thunderbolts is directly connected to Sam. And
Hmm.
so I could easily see where Sam will could pop up in Thunderbolts and stuff like that or whatever. But that's something that I am interested about. Were there anything? Because I'm interested, especially since you didn't see the series, that you were kind of caught off guard about, or surprised about that popped up. I guess in a sense, also, what did you think about um, Isaiah Bradley? Were you surprised about him? Because if you didn't watch the series, you didn't know about him. So did you know about him before the movie started?
No, I didn't know about him before it started, but it didn't, not knowing about, like, they did it in a way where it did not feel like I was supposed to know about him, if that
Mhm.
makes sense. Like, I felt like he was just a character that was being introduced. So I
Yeah.
wasn't confused by that. I was like, oh, this is a guy that he's worked with before. They got a relationship, probably like a father-son type of bond almost. So I wasn't
Mhm.
confused by that. I liked that whole storyline, and I'm happy that it did not end with him still in jail or dead. Um, but I do because at first, like when he did the shooting and stuff, I was like, oh Lord, what's about to happen? What type of movie is this, Captain America? Y'all taking me a little bit too far, but I was
Yeah,
happy with like how that story ended up being.
yeah.
And the only thing I was probably confused about was Bucky being in politics.
Yo, I don't
That
know
was the
what that.
it.
I don't know
Cause I
what
was,
that's.
cause like I don't know if you watch trailers and stuff, but like one of the trailers before the movie started was Thunderbolts, and so I'm like, wait a minute, how you in politics and you in the what's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. For him to own that specific moment, especially coming off of the show that they were in together, um, I have no clue, Blaze. I really don't. I don't see how that happens. I don't see. I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm
That
like,
is,
what did I miss? I thought it was
yeah,
something in the show.
no, no, it's definitely not in the show unless I'm tripping. Like I don't remember him mentioning that he was interested in that or nothing like that. So I'm really interested to see how they follow up with that with the upcoming film. I think it comes out in May, Thunderbolts, to show that. But I will say it does seem like in the Thunderbolts trailer that he seems like the straight man of the group.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like it kind of reminds me of the guy, like, so the first Suicide Squad, when the guy from the military was kind of leading the Suicide Squad, that's what
hmm
he kind of gives me the vibe as. And so, I don't know. That's definitely something that I'm interested in, seeing how did that occur, based off of what, has happened in the past. Because, yeah, you know, and I will say, going back to Isaiah Bradley, so I was definitely interested to see how that will go and how far back they will, or how much more they'll elaborate on. Because in the show, we find out that he was actually the first super soldier, not Captain America.
Oh,
And
okay.
so, but basically, as
Sounds
history,
about right.
yeah, as history shows, he was the one that was put to the backside, and we learn a little bit more about that as opposed to, Captain America got the, Steve Rogers got to move on and do his thing.
Well,
And
yeah,
so,
I mean, it's
uh,
Captain America, so Captain America gotta be,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's
So
during
we
that time period.
it's definitely during that time period, which I that's one of the things that I do appreciate them not being over dramatic about it, but being real about how things actually were back then, and
Yeah.
how it could have actually been. But I really loved almost every freaking scene that Isaiah Bradley was in, especially when he was running out and not knowing what was going on.
I
I
thought he's
just
in amazing shape.
oh, right, now another thing, Easter egg stuff. Did you catch what they were mining and wanting to get out of the Centennial in the ocean?
It's like it's not vibranium, but it's something
Man,
new, right? Uh,
adamantium.
Adamantium, yes. Yeah, they trying to get their own little something.
So, but you know what that connects to, right?
I don't.
Oh, Blaze, you finna be shooken.
Okay. Thank me.
So there is a person
hmm
who is in the military, and I
hmm
don't. He just has money, or he just has a military mindset to put together enough people, or he's a scientist as well as a military person. But basically, he puts together this laboratory and also puts together like a secret spy super team, almost similar to Suicide Squad. And basically, it's kind of like the spies of the spies, and they have powers and all this stuff like that. Well, one of those individuals ends up coming to him later on, um, and basically he ends up getting him to participate in this scientific experiment where adamantium is blended or covered on this person's bones, and this person is Wolverine.
Oh, okay.
So,
Wow. So they
yes.
wait, they just now finding an Antimonium? That's crazy. I would have been dug that up. Like I'm
Well,
talking about years.
so this is the weird thing that's going on now that I'm wondering how they're going to go with this because here and there they're teasing mutants and X-Men. So,
See,
we
now
had
you're gonna make me mad because I don't. That's one series or one thing I don't want them to remake.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
But
what
they
do you
have
mean? I know, but forget that.
to
Like, we didn't have the same people for so long. Why do that now? Like, Spider-Man,
really
we
had
didn't.
to
I didn't
catch them.
live through three different Spider-Mans, and within those three different Spider-Mans, I've had the same X-Men, with the exception of like when they told their story when they were younger. But
Yeah.
like I'm not for it. I'm against it. I'm boycotting.
So
No.
Blade, um, it's very interesting because we had Multiverse of Madness with Doctor Strange, and we finally got the original um, Professor Xavier.
Professor X.
Then in Miss Marvel, there's a moment where we find out that Kamala Khan is considered a mutant, and they play their theme song briefly.
Mhm.
Um, and so now here we are, and it's crazy because I feel like everybody's always wondered how are people going on about their business when there should be this big frozen, enormous giant thing in the ocean from the was it Elementals, the Elemental
Mhm. Mhm.
film, um, from that and nothing. So I really that's probably one of the main Easter egg slash topics that I loved and was highly upset that they never went inside. And I just knew they were gonna like have I would have loved that they would have had Strike William Stryker to be part of the military or something like
Yeah. Mhm.
to be like, oh, adamantium, you can do this with that. But at the end of the day, I feel like what Marvel is doing, they know because from what I understand, I'm not big into comic books, unfortunately. But from what I've learned, Secret War, everything is leading up to Secret Wars, and after Secret Wars, it's supposed to be a reset of some sort. And so, my thing is, my prediction is that X-Men is going to be their next go-to for the next probably 10 years after Secret Wars. And they're waiting to the absolute last moment to launch them and make sure they do it right because they know once they go the route of X-Men, they
Mhm.
have to do it right. Everything has to be in
Mhm.
play. And there's so many ways that you can go about it. I'm just interested to know how they're going to do that with X-Men 97 um in the play, and people are still used to seeing them in an animated way. So you got the animated version of them, you got the recent Logan that was in Deadpool. So it's just like I'm interested to see how they're gonna play this out. But what I can
But
go ahead, yeah.
no, you can finish it and I'll say.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is if sorry, because I'm on tangent and I love X-Men. So if y'all
Mhm.
don't
I do
know,
too.
X is my people. So I would wonder if their game plan is to drop the Easter eggs and take their time telling the stories of the youth leading up to X-Men live action and taking their time to slowly introduce Logan because he wasn't originally there. He was brought in and stuff like that. He's not one of the original students. So, but yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Well, I was gonna say, so my understanding of the X-Men world is that people were against mutants.
Right.
How would X-Men fit into this Avengers world where people celebrate people with these like powers?
So, unless I'm not aware of there being another universe, I think it's just a simple thing of just as much as Captain America is praised, but Spider-Man's experience is different. Um, and I just feel that pretty much wherever they are, um, they don't get the benefit of the doubt because that's the other thing too that I don't think about that
But
technically
that's
this takes place.
weird.
Yeah, it
Like
takes place in one city, but yeah. Well, if you think about it, Blaze, they're not looked at as heroes. They're looked at as freaks
exactly,
because
because they're not even given the opportunity to like be heroes. They looked at as
right.
freaks. But here's Captain America, like the government experimented on people to basically make a mutant, and y'all celebrate him.
Mhm.
Y'all got natural born mutants. Just use
Yeah,
them. They don't
yes,
use them because they can't control them because they don't understand. And people hate things that they don't understand.
yeah, and I think the main thing is that, and that's the interesting thing because it's just like they're introducing this, but it's just like how, like going back to what you said, this feels very 2025 when I watched this film. It didn't seem like it was back in the
Mm-hmm.
day. It seemed like a
Mm-hmm.
very current film. Only
Mm-hmm.
thing I can think of is the other thing that's supposed to happen in Secret Wars is that multiple universes are supposed to end up coming together in some type of way.
Okay.
And so it may be one of those things that we get introduced to another universe, and that's how they're probably brought in that sense. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's just one of those things, kind of going back to what we were saying with Isaiah and Steve Rogers. It's Isaiah back in those times versus Steve Rogers. And on top of that, it's a difference when it's Steve Rogers. All he is someone that looks like, your friendly neighborhood guy, and he just happens to be strong and he's very patriotic, as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
someone that looks like a lizard, someone who has claws coming out of their hands,
It's
someone,
fire. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, someone who has spikes coming out of their bodies, someone who has lasers coming out of their eyes, and they have a hard time controlling. So I think it's one of those things to where the Avengers and everybody else, their powers have always been at the benefit of the people, as opposed to, and it's been a clear cut thing, and they just come in to save, as opposed with mutants. It's always been one of those things that they've
The
had to
other.
learn their powers, and also they don't look like you sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and they can harm you by just touching you and draining all of your life energy.
Mm-hmm. My bad.
So, right,
Like, oops, my bad. Didn't mean to do that. I just got these
right,
powers.
right. No kissy for you, buddy. Leave me alone.
Mhm.
But yeah, like so it's very interesting. I'm interested to see how this is gonna do. Honestly, that made me the most excited about the whole entire film. The fact that they dropped that, and I'm like, whoa, we finally getting closer and closer. And like I said, I appreciate it that they're taking their time with it because X-Men, if you want to lean on any other franchise within a franchise, it's X-Men. And you can literally
Uh-huh.
take as much time as you want that you did with Avengers leading up to Endgame. You can do the exact same thing with X-Men. You can blend now, and what's perfect, you can definitely have where you have TV shows that connect with films because it's
Mhm.
just so broad. Like who wouldn't want to learn about more about Storm before she became part of X-Men,
Mhm.
learning more about Cyclops and his brother, and how they transition to getting there, and then say if they bring in the brotherhood, like say if they start off in high school, like they did with X-Men Evolution, like it's just so much that you can do. Um, that I feel that you can make Wolverine a unicorn and not just throw him in there, but make him something else and stuff like that. Which I still have a theory that I do feel that Deadpool will be back at least in Secret Wars, but I'm curious to see what that'll be. So it's crazy that we got on a tangent talking about X-Men, but they did it, not me.
Mhm.
But
Right.
but um other than that, Blaze, overall, what are your thoughts just on the film overall? Like, what do you feel like this sets up for the future, and what are your expectations?
Um, I don't know what it sets up for the future because I'm not that knowledgeable about this phase. So I don't know really where this may go, which I think is a good thing. If they do another Captain American with Anthony Mackie, they can
Mhm.
kind of do, they can kind of go anywhere and go anywhere. And I think that that's the beauty of like the different phases, but also like the conclusion of this movie.
Yeah.
As far as what I thought about the movie overall, I thought it was really good. Like I said
Mhm.
earlier, I like that they kind of went with like a political thriller type of vibe as opposed to just your generic superhero vibe. I think that that's going to help if they want to like add on to the Captain America franchise, that's going to
Mhm.
help them go on more because like I mentioned earlier, a lot of the things with the superheroes, it is like kind of political as they are trying to like get rights and who governs what and stuff like that. So I think that using Captain America for that, I mean, obviously that's the smartest thing to do. Um, I don't. I think I said this before. I don't care about the first Captain America, like the first movie. I thought it
Mhm.
was boring. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like Winter Soldier was good, Civil War was good, and then this one was good. So, 3 out of 4. They killing it.
Yeah, I mean, even going back to what you said, I think it's interesting that they took the political approach, just because that also shows that it's kind of been the worst. Because I didn't realize who Harrison Ford's character was until they elaborated on it, and I was like, oh
Hmm.
wow, I do remember his character in the other Hulk movies. So this does make a lot of sense in a full circle type of thing,
Yeah.
and it kind of just shows how um what they were trying to stop from happening from
Hmm.
Civil War, that technically they never did heal from that to a certain degree. And
Hmm.
now it's back in the hands of technically an official thing coming together of rebuilding the Avengers. And ironically, Sam Wilson is on that sign to rebuild it when he was on Cap's side,
Hmm. Hmm.
and finding a balance of working with the government and also mentoring future people as well and stuff like that. And so because I do feel like it's gonna just be one of those things, everybody's gonna have to trust each other to for them to do their jobs and do what they need to do to save. So yeah, that was a good point. That was a good point. So well, cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward. Like I said, it definitely was a good film. um a lot of Easter eggs in it. I think the continuation from the series was pretty much spot on. Like I said, I was really caught off about Bucky, and I really want to learn more about this
I'm
congressman
like, what?
thing. Yeah, but overall, great Hulk. It's been a long time since we had a really good Hulk. And so
Yeah, a
yeah,
movie
just
that actually
definitely
made me
looking
like
forward to.
the Hulk. Who would have thought?
Oh my gosh, and he wasn't even a good guy.
He wasn't even a good guy. The reason why I don't like the Hulk is like, sure, you're helping people, but also you are not helping people because you are
True.
destroying a lot of
Every,
things. I
yeah.
like imagine if your neighborhood was the
Mhm.
neighborhood that the Hulk was having a fight
Ooh,
in, and now you got to call your insurance company like, "Hey, I
yeah.
don't have a home anymore because the Hulk came." Well, we don't have insurance for that, so you out of luck. What? So
Oh my gosh, that's
I
funny.
just can't get down with that aspect of the Hulk. But
Yeah.
I digress.
I liked yeah, I liked his growth, and I love the character development leading up to Ragnarok. I feel like that film was not only good for Thor, but it was really good for the Hulk. Um,
Okay, I take it back. I did like the Hulk in that movie.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, I
So
did like the Hulk in that movie.
so I enjoyed that, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I don't know if we will continue to get Professor Hulk, but that's what we have now. Um, but yeah, so definitely interested to see how it moves forward.
Yeah, but Captain America was good. I'm happy that we saw it and we got to talk about it.
Yep, yep. Next up, as far as Marvel, is Thunderbolts, and I actually am looking forward to it. I'm interested to see how it unfolds, especially with the type of villain that they're supposed to be going up against. So, and like I've been saying, this kind of gives the vibe of like this is Marvel's Suicide Squad, pretty much.
Yeah, no, that's exactly the vibe I was getting.
Well, cool. Well, again, y'all appreciate y'all for tuning in and just being with us throughout this journey. This is the third season. We're really excited about it. A lot of stuff coming down the pipeline this year, and prayerfully, we just hope to keep on bringing these episodes to you. Please always feel free to let us know how you feel about things, what you want us to talk about, elaborate on, connect with us on social medias. We're about to get back ramped up. Things are kind of coming down with me, my daytime job, finishing up with the doc. So we get about to get it back pumping. So overall, appreciate you all, and hope y'all have a good rest of the morning, noon, or night, and tune in for the next one.
Peace.
Peace.